KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.
Good morning.
And we're waiting. Another guy is supposed to be coming. Well, we want to talk about Transport Workers Union 555. They had a very interesting picket on Thursday, and I assume that battle is going to go on. Let's get a quick rundown on what's coming up. The Communication Workers of America remind us that April the 28th is Workers' Memorial Day.
That's right.
4 decades ago, Congress passed the Occupational Safety and Health Act, and this is the anniversary, is April 28th. They promised every worker the right to a safe job. So April 28th is when we celebrate the people who got killed and the people who got injured on the job.
Well, and Texas is #1 in construction deaths in the country.
And all kinds of injuries.
Yep. OSHA is alive and well. We had a technician in Kansas that was beaten and subsequently killed on the job late at night.
It's a communication workers guy?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And the OSHA ruled in our favor against the company.
What's OSHA?
OSHA is the Occupational Safe and Healthy Act.
And their birthday is April the 28th. That's when we'll celebrate. On April 13th, we will celebrate Cesar Chavez's birthday, even though it's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Cesar Chavez's birthday, but because it fell on Easter and all that, they kept putting off the time for the parade. It'll be in Fort Worth. We will meet around the convention center. We'll find the LACLA booth. LACLA is LCLAA. It's Labor Council for Latin American Advancement. And Gerardo Contreras, who owns that float, is inviting us to come and march. The Job with Justice will be marching, and Alliance for Retired Americans will be joining in. On April the 22nd through the 27th, they're going to protest the new Bush Institute. Now, everybody says they're protesting the library, but it's not the library. That's not the problem. Every president gets a library. Nobody cares. But President George Bush, he wants to have an institute, too. We wish he had gone to an institute.
A think tank, which is
yeah, it's going to be
George W. Think Tank. I don't know. It doesn't compute.
What's that word that that means two things contradict themselves?
Oxymoron.
He is an oxymoron.
I love that.
He
is a moron.
We did develop that word. It got a lot of use during the Bush administration.
It didn't it?
I heard people say oxymoron all the time. And the oxymoron is George Bush think tank. But anyway, they're going to have it.
Oh, yeah.
The faculty caved in about it. The students never really took a hand. And so SMU is going to be hosting a rat's nest of anti-worker intellectuals from all over the world who will be coming.
That's a very good way to put it.
In the prominent name of George Bush, and that'll be one of the other things that we can be ashamed of for living here.
Lord.
So they'll be protesting that April 22nd through 27th. If you'd like to differentiate yourselves from the people who support the George Bush Institute, then come to the protest April 22nd through 27th. May the 3rd will be a tribute to Eddie Bernice Johnson by Congressman Mark Vesey at the Postal Clerks Hall. That's APWU Hall on Postal Way. To find out about that, go to TexasRetiredAmericans.org. That's one of my websites.
Yes.
TexasRetiredAmericans.org.
And I hope lots of people will turn out for this. Eddie Bernice Johnson has been in Congress for a long time, and she has done a lot for the area. over the years.
Yes, she has.
And this is a real honor.
We're crazy about her and the retirees.
Yes, absolutely.
Because healthcare is such a big issue for us, and she's been a leader and a fighter for healthcare issues in her whole career. She's certainly been a leader and a fighter for civil rights. You know, she knew Martin Luther King. I think he stayed at her house when he was in town. And so she's a walking, talking legend among us. But you know, not everybody's crazy about her. I got an email last night from one of your colleagues in the communication workers that did not like one of her votes, said that she had voted. But that's I'll tell you the truth. In politics and in unions, and Bonnie will back me up on this, you can only please about half the people with every decision you make. The other half is going to be furious at you. Is that not true?
That's the nature of the beast. It certainly is.
You see these guys, they'll knock themselves out. Let's say somebody got denied a promotion, you know, and got cheated out of a promotion. So then the union steward will go and just knock himself out to get that guy the promotion that he or she deserved, and finally win it, and then go back in the shop thinking he's going to get congratulated, and he finds out that one guy is happy, but everybody else is mad at him.
Right.
Hey, you got him a promotion. Why don't you give me a promotion?
Yeah, what about me? Oh.
Me. So
yeah, that's the thing, you know. Folks have forgotten the labor movement is not about me.
You know,
it's about we.
Somewhere I've got a poem about the poor union steward, because they are the most picked on. They're the most picked on people in the world. Because if they win, then everybody wants theirs, and then if they lose, everybody's mad at them for losing.
Right. That's right.
They can't win for losing. Okay, so there's one more thing that I'd like to announce, but I don't know the details, so I'm going to have to ask if anybody can call 972-647-1893 and tell us, because even Bonnie and I don't know this one. There is a certain Mexican priest that is on tour of the United States, and he's supposed to come to Dallas. And he's organizing support for immigration reform. And I don't know when, and I don't know where. So if you know, call us at 972-647-1893. We would really like to help.
Absolutely.
Well, Bonnie, I made it to the Transport Workers Union, Local 555, with their picket on left
Thursday.
field.
Yeah.
They had a lot of support from Local 556.
Good.
Both of them work for Southwest Airlines. But it's 555 is the ramp, baggage handlers, I don't know what else.
That cargo, you know, all that. They're transport workers. They work on the ground and get our luggage from the plane to the terminal, and from the terminal to the plane. And, you know, these guys work hard, and Southwest wants to outsource 20% of their work.
Yeah.
So what they want to bring in...
Does everybody understand what outsource means? It means they're going to give it to somebody else.
They're going to give it to somebody else. Instead of allowing the union workers to do all this work, they're going to bring in a contractor and pick up 20% of the work. Well, that's just crap.
When you look at it from the company's point of view, they're paying $16, $17 in benefits for somebody that unloads baggage on the plane, you know, and they advertise the guys, what a great guys they are, and how much they support Southwest Airlines and all that.
How much they care.
But then they turn around and they say, hey, we can get this done. We can go down to the day laborers and get somebody to do a sloppy job on this for $8 an hour.
And we don't have to pay them benefits or anything.
So from the company's point of view, it's just, hey, we got a chance to rip somebody off, so let's do it. But from the workers' point of view, that's our work.
That's right.
And to a certain extent, we have protection under labor law that they can't just do that to us.
That's right.
But of course, under the George Bush years and under the Reagan years and under the first George Bush, the company got pretty used to just being able to do anything they wanted to.
Well, and they're so used to being able to do anything they want to that President Obama made some recess appointments to the National Labor Relations Board, and a court struck down those appointments, saying that they were unconstitutional. So now you have all these small and medium-sized businesses that have been ruled against by these recess appointments at the National Labor Relations Board. And they want to overturn all those decisions.
They say, yeah, you guys had a fair decision and everything, but now we got a chance to overturn it. So here's a chance to rip somebody off.
Gosh, it's horrible.
Yeah.
No one president has ever been through so much trying to run the country. He made these recess appointments because Congress was sitting on it. He made the appointments to the National Labor Relations Board to move things forward. He has done so much trying to move things forward against a brick wall.
Yeah, and he got a new civil rights director
that
looks pretty good from the point of view of civil rights. And, of course, here's all these guys saying, "Oh, we're going to block that."
Oh, we don't want that. Oh, no, we don't want that.
So it's been pretty tough to be President Obama. Of course, we still think quite a bit of him.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I think he's. There's a lot of folks out there I'd like to get rid of.
But he's in politics too, and everybody in politics knows that every time you make a decision, you make somebody happy maybe, but you're going to make everybody else mad.
That's right.
And you cannot win. The morning news had a little coverage of the picket for Transport Workers Union 555, and they pointed out, as you did, Bonnie, that they want to outsource a lot of their work. They want to give a lot of that work to cheaper people with no benefits. And Gwen York was at the picket when I was there, and she said that they also want to take all of the work from the smaller airlines. Well, see, Southwest Airlines started off as a small regional airline, so they've got gates at all these little smaller airports at Amarillo and all over the state. And so if they outsourced all that would hit pretty hard on the union. And don't forget too, that's not the only takeaways they're trying to impose. It's always health care. Always. Every union contract that comes up, the company's trying to take away any kind of health care benefits. In my opinion, we made a mistake a long time ago when the union started accepting these contracts with health care benefits in them, because we should have kicked up for national health care and extension of Social Security back in the late 40s, like they did in Europe.
Right.
Because in Europe, the union movement was ideologically much stronger. I don't know if they were bigger or anything, but they were ideologically much stronger, and they pushed for national health care. Well, the United States was very close to getting national health care, and in fact, President Truman was in favor of it. But instead, they started negotiating and saying, we're going to get health care through our employer, and to heck with everybody else. And so there became a big rift between the unions and the rest of the workers. If you're not a union worker, you say, hey, how come they got health care and I didn't? How come they didn't fight for me to get health care?
It's called collective bargaining.
Yeah. Well, so the unions, back in the late 40s, the unions decided that they would get their pensions and their health care from the company.
Rather than the government.
Without realizing that sooner or later the company was going to pull the rug out. Because when things began to get tight, after 1972, the companies started saying, hey, we're not in on this deal. We're not going to do this anymore. And so there we are, stuck with no national health care, and the company's taking away our health care. And this process is still going on. And it's too bad. But we are where we are. And what we have to do is fight from where we're fighting. And so get behind local TWU Local 555 and stand up for them at Southwest Airlines every chance you get. Let's see what Joe has to say. Thanks for calling Knon, Joe. Good morning.
Yeah, I already told one of these Southwest, one of these home health care people. I told him, say, look, I'm gonna be for you. Gonna call me a socialist or whatever you want to call me. I don't care, because I'm sick of these backward thinking type people who want to keep us back in 1812 somewhere. That's what's wrong. They want to keep us back there in 1812 and with health care and a lot of mental health.
Yeah.
They still want to put you back in the dark ages somewhere, 1885 or somewhere back there.
I think 1860 is the date they have in mind.
Yeah, it's like that, Gene. These people. I see this meanness on Al Sharpton too. They're picking on the Obama girls, man. I tell you something else. Women should get the pregnancy leave.
Wait a minute. You said they're picking on Obama's children?
Oh yeah, they're picking on because they went on a.
They
vacation.
went on a vacation with their mom.
And they pick it on them, man. I said, man, this is low.
They don't have anything else to do. They don't have a life, Joe, so you know.
Yeah, that's what it is. But I tell you too, the women should get pregnancy leave.
Absolutely.
And
men should get paternity leave.
Oh yeah, they should.
Absolutely.
They all take some care of their children in this country,
That's
but
right.
instead they're cutting the children right and left.
But some of these bosses think you if your children die, they don't care.
Mm-hmm.
If your mama died, they don't care.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you too about this war thing. I told them about this war thing. I told them, said the last war this country really won was World War II.
Uh-huh.
And you know why they won that? They dropped 2 of those big babies and the war was over with.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people ain't gonna like this, but I told them what they should have done. That when they found that Russia was bad, dropped 2 on Russia, 2 on North Korea, and 3 on China. And the day we wouldn't be worrying about these bad boys today, but no, they want to do all this talk all night, cry all night stuff. That's all we do now.
Joe,
start wars and get people push it up in the no-win wars.
Joe, do you realize you're advocating killing millions of people?
Well, yeah, I know, but
dropping those bombs?
I know, but you either fight to win or you just take it and don't send nobody over there.
Yeah,
you
but they destroy the world.
Yeah, I know, but you either fight to win or you don't need to send a bunch of people over there. You ain't gonna fight though. You ain't gonna fight to win.
Well, why send people over there at all?
Yeah, that's what send people over there. Oh, you either fight to win or forget it.
All right, Joe. Appreciate your view.
Yeah, thank you.
I think you ought to think. Bonnie, do you think he ought to think it through a little bit more about dropping all those bombs?
You know, the thing about nuclear war, it's the great equalizer.
Like we're all dead.
We're all dead. Yeah. That's
Okay.
it.
Last week, a survey reported that almost half of retirees have less than $10,000 in savings.
Oh my gosh.
This is a New York Times article, and then they repeated it in the Dallas Morning News. It's $10,000 in savings and investments, not including their homes and pensions. You read that right. The cushion is that slim. Only half said they could come up with $2,000 in an emergency. Only half of the retirees said they could come up with $2,000 in an emergency. In the same study, they said that workers who are trying to get toward retirement don't even have $25,000. And this is people that are eligible to retire don't even have $25,000, which is not even going to get them through the first year.
Nope.
And that's the sorry pass that we have come through.
Well, and a huge problem is health care.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and they're trying to take that away.
That's it. I mean, if you're 55 and you retire, like I just did, I'm very blessed. I was pension eligible, so I was able to retire. That doesn't happen anymore. Mm-hmm. I can't. Luckily, I have a union contract, so I have health care until at least December.
Until the next
the next contract. That's right.
Until the next negotiations. That's how long you have health care.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But what do I do next year if I don't get health care?
Right.
I'm not old enough for Medicare. Mm-hmm. I got 10 years to go before I'm old enough for Medicare.
Right.
What do people do?
Yeah.
It's amazing the cost of prescription medication. It's don't get sick. Don't get sick.
Yeah. Don't get hurt in Texas.
Right.
I think the 1860 is the target date that the bosses have in mind because they want to go back to slavery, and they are certainly making great strides.
Yes, they are.
In that direction with pushing back at everything that the president has tried to do, everything that civil rights has tried to do, everything that women have won, everything that workers have won, wages, benefits, health care, pensions, everywhere you look. That's why I keep advocating for a unity march. Instead of having a picket here and a picket there, I think we ought to have one big march where people come together and realize that this whole thing is a push by the bosses and using their representatives in Congress to rob the working people of America.
That's it.
And once we get together on that, maybe we could have a unity march. We'll be right back.
I got to work this morning, Something seemed kind of strange. My body door was missing. There's a machine set in its place.
So much pain, we don't know how to be but angry.
Statistics say 1.5 million teenagers experience dating abuse every year.
Only 33% report it.
Let's break the cycle.
Love is not abuse.
If you or someone you know is experiencing teen dating abuse, get help now.
For immediate, confidential assistance, call 866-331-9474 or log on to loveisrespect.org.
You can also text Love Is to 77054.
To learn more about what abuse is and the resources available to you, visit loveisnotabuse.com.
You don't have to be afraid.
Call 866-331-9474.
Store the number in your phone for future use.
866-331-9474.
Know how to get help for yourself or someone you know.
This is Sonny Boy Mark, and I'd like to take a minute here to tell you about over 60 minutes of great blues listening available now on KNON's Texas Blues Radio Volume 5 Blues CD. This is some great stuff, folks. 15 tracks from the Two-Tones, Blues Boy Bo, Buddy Whittington, Andrea Dawson, Kirkland James, Sonny Colley, Johnny Red and the Roosters, the Chris Watson Band, the Rough Cut Blues Band, Jeff Stone with Charlie Love, David Millsap, Sir Loin and the Ass Kicking Machine, Michael J. and the Paul Bird Band, and JJ and the Detonators. The 1,000 copies we made are selling fast, and we won't reissue it. Get yours now at Forever Young Records in Grand Prairie, Record Town in Fort Worth, and in Dallas at Bill's Records and Rewind Music. The CD is available as a download at cdbaby.com. All proceeds benefit KNON, sponsored by Forever Young Records. Vinyl copies available at Forever Young Records only. For more info on Texas Blues Radio Volume 5, visit knon.org. Your ears been bending for some blues? Well, feed them the real thing with Texas Blues Radio Volume 5.
Blue Monday, how I hate Blue Monday. Got to work like a slave all day.
That's exactly what they have in mind. Thank you, Fats Domino, for clarifying what's going on ideologically in the United States today. They want us to work like a slave all day. The Texas AFT has posted an account of a hearing on something called the Parent Trigger. And the Parent Trigger bill is going to make it easier to get the parents to help them destroy the public school system. So the Parent Trigger removes the safeguards that are in there now. It's in there now that if parents want to have a charter school instead of the public school that they have, they can do that.
Right.
But it still has all these safeguards. The charter school has to live up to certain standards and everything. Well, they're going to try to get rid of that to make it easier to destroy the public school system, and in other words, they're trying to trick the parents into it. So instead of calling it the Parent Trigger, the teachers union calls it the Parent Tricker, and they are trying to get the parents to help them privatize the schools. Okay, let's see what Lexi has to say. Thanks for calling KNON, Lexi. Ooh, bad reception. Can you talk, Lexi? All I get is static. Annie, better give her another try later. Thanks for calling, Lexi, but all we got was static there. Yep. Thanks very much. So the Parent Trigger bill is a part of many, many, many bills that have been filed to try to undermine and get rid of public education.
That's right. That's right. And make it easier. And the thing a lot of people don't understand about charter schools are funded by public money, by our tax dollars.
That's right.
But they get to pick their students.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So if your kid doesn't live up to what they want, your kid doesn't get to go.
But if you had all kinds of money, there
wouldn't be a problem at all.
Yeah, your kid could be just a hellion, and if you had enough money.
That's right, you get to stay.
Because it's all about the money. So when we get rid of public education and go back to private education like they had in 1860, they go back to 1860 like they want, then we will find out that poor people will not be able to get an education, and if they get one at all, it's going to be a sorry one.
Yep, that's it.
Of course, prior to 1860, it was illegal to educate black people at all.
Yep.
So it was illegal to even teach somebody to read if they were black. So that's where we're headed if we listen to what the bosses and their representatives in government.
And
want.
we've already got kids graduated from high school today that read on a third grade level. 80% of the students at Eastfield College in Pleasant Grove are in remedial classes that they should have gotten in high school.
Well, thank goodness they can get in those classes.
Exactly. But I mean, what now? They got to go through a year to catch up just so they can get into college. It's ridiculous. Ugh.
It is ridiculous. We don't have nearly what we should have, but that's because they have been underfunding education all this time. Then they point to they say, well, we didn't give you any money all these years.
And look how good you did.
But you didn't measure up. You didn't because they kept raising their expectations and lowering the amount of money until now they've managed to make the schools look pretty bad. And that's because they underfunded them all this time. Just take, for example, the last legislature in Texas underfunded Texas schools by $5.4 billion.
That's
and the present legislature has dug in their heels and said, we ain't going to give none of that money back.
Maybe we'll give you $2 billion.
Here's what we're going to give. We're going to give a big tax cut to the rich people. That's what the Texas legislature is trying to do right now, brothers and sisters.
And they want this parent trigger bill to go into effect, so that even more charter schools can open. They want to increase the number of charter schools that are going to be able to operate in the state.
And they don't even care that the results have shown that the charter schools don't measure up to the public schools.
No.
They're not even as good as the public schools.
And they don't care.
And yet they keep pushing to get more and more of them because they're trying to undermine public education. Let's see what Joe says. Thanks for calling Knon, brother.
Hey, Gene, what's going on?
We're glad to hear from you.
Hey, same here. You guys are on top of it. I just got back from Mississippi, and they're doing the same thing down there in large scales. They're doing the same thing in the Michigan. Matter of fact, in Michigan, they're taking over towns and cities and schools with that same deal.
They're taking over the biggest city in.
They bring a monitor in, and they kick out the elected officials, and the monitor runs it in the ground. And they bless it by saying it's okay. Now, what you were saying about the charter school is nothing but privatizing, as I said, taking over and privatizing public schools. They destroy them. You're going to have a situation where you'll have, well, first of all, anytime a child leaves a public school and go to a charter school, dollars follow.
That's right.
So you're economically weakening that school.
Absolutely.
In addition to that, they can selectively pick their children, their teachers. So the so-called good kids with good scores are going to end up in your charter school. That's going to further weaken the public schools. You're going to end up with the weaker teachers and the poor scoring student that's tied to, say, welfare, free lunch, and this type thing. So they're going to say, hey, look, see, they're so bad. But what they're not telling you is that in the charter school, they don't have to provide special education. They don't have to provide sports, and most of them don't. So they can concentrate on more so on academic. But when you can say, I want Johnny Smalls, I don't want Willie Smith, I want Mary Simmons, I don't want Annie Jones, because you picking the cream of the crop, yes, you're going to look better, and you would think you should perform better because you're selectively choosing. In the public school, if they send you a child with one eye, one horn, like a flying purple people eater, you got to take them and expect to turn that into a lawyer or a doctor. You're going to have the better parent over in the charter school. You're going to have the weaker parent because you got to fill out an application to get in. You have to start that application. If it's going to be for the fall, you might start the application in the summer. So your lesser parents are not going to sit out and fill out an application. They're not going out and interview with the schools. And the beat just goes on. But the bottom line is, there's one other thing, too, because I saw this down in Mississippi. They're going to load them up with Teach for America teachers. So there go a lot of your teachers that were trained in the state, got big student loans and stuff to teach school. They are not going to have jobs. Have a good day.
That's right.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, Teach for America
that guy knows what he's talking about.
He does. And, Teach for America is a wonderful program. We've gotten some phenomenal teachers out of Teach for America. And what Teach for America does is it helps you pay off your student loans. You go teach in an urban school district, and part of you, it actually pays off your student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these teachers stay and make a difference, make a real difference.
We're all in it together, and the public schools were a great accomplishment of the American people, which if we stick together, we can still have them. But if they let us keep splitting us apart with these parent trickery ideas, we can see where we're going to go. Let's see what Ed Middleton has to say. Good morning, Ed. Thanks for calling KNON.
Good morning, Gene. How are you today?
Very good, Reverend. Glad to hear from you.
You had mentioned when the program come on, you had raised the issue about the priest who was coming into town with a caravan.
Yeah, you know about that?
I will pass along some information and contact for anybody who would like to get more information, because there was a planning meeting earlier this week. The priest is, I probably will not get this name exactly right, Alejandro Solalinde, and the Emory human rights folk are coordinating some efforts with other groups to host the caravan coming through Dallas. Roberto Corona, who's also on the advisory board for the Workers' Defense Project, is doing trying to coordinate that planning. And
you know the date?
I'm not sure of the dates, because the caravan is taking some time. It goes from April 29th through May 31st, and I'm not sure the exact landing date, because I was at another Tuesday night meeting, and so I couldn't attend the planning meeting for that event. I can give the contact number for people who want to get more information.
Yeah, let us know that.
Yeah, that's 214-768-7487.
Outstanding.
214-768-7487.
That was the number that I was given. I think that is Roberto Corona's number.
So if we Google Roberto Corona, will we get a web page or something like that tells us about this?
Probably the best way to come at that would be to Google Emory Human Rights Institute, which is, of course, at SMU.
You'll have to spell Emory.
I think it's
E-M-B-R-E-Y.
B-R-E-Y.
Yeah.
Emory Institute.
The Human Rights Institute.
Okay, Emory Human Rights Institute at SMU, and that will be their website. And the phone number you said is 214-768-7487. Reverend, what do you think about this? This is a Catholic priest coming through to speak up for immigration rights. What do you think about it?
Well, I think, of course, the time's right, given all the ferment going on in conversations at both parties. The Republicans trying to play some catch-up. The Democrats who want to enjoy the benefit of being non-Republicans, but not necessarily being the most bold creatures God's ever made. But I think the good news is that conversations are going, and there's going to be some kind of plan. But it remains to be seen to what extent those conversations will take us. So I think all of us have to keep our ears and eyes open. I think immigration reform really needs to be looked at seriously, because there are workers in this country, undocumented, who also need protections. And they're not necessarily the threats that everybody thinks they are, but rather are being used to play off worker against worker. So I think it would be good for all if we get some immigration reform.
Well, okay, but what can we do about it? When Alejandro Solalinde, when the priest comes here, is it going to be a march or a rally or something? Do you think people will be able to do something?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a rally. My understanding is at City Hall Plaza. And, of course, one of the things that he's also going to be doing is trying to provide, my understanding, again, is that he's going to be providing information for how difficult it is for workers south of our border, oftentimes in standing up for workers' rights, facing incredible persecution and sometimes death. So he's going to be raising, I think, issues of what workers face elsewhere, which is one of the reasons why they so often come seeking employment here, and the obstacles they face when they get here. So I think one of the things he's going to do is that he's going to try to help all of us gain understanding about many of the dynamics involved in the whole process of crossing the border.
Okay, well, that's going to be great, and I appreciate very much you letting us know about that.
Yeah, I'm glad to do that, and enjoy the program.
Thanks very much.
All right.
Got some people waiting in line now. Esquire's been waiting a long time. Thanks for waiting, and thanks for calling KNON, brother.
Good morning.
Glad to hear from you.
Good. I was listening to you talking about the school systems. And,
yes, sir.
And, it really bothers me because this is a nationwide problem. Mm-hmm. They have a little game they're playing, all these governors at these states are making these changes, and that's dangerous.
Yes, it is.
And I think you're calling them bosses, but I say Congress. They're sitting on their butts. They don't intend to do anything. I've never seen nothing like this. The way they do on the president, it's just a shame.
Mm-hmm. Of course, most of this is being done at the state level, but it is coordinated. There's an organization called ALEC, A-L-E-C, that is coordinating the anti-worker stuff that's going on in all the states.
Bad dudes.
It's bad. I mean, and one other thing, I don't know if you've heard it, but I belong to, my wife and I, with the Universal Health Care, and those jokers are bailing up tomorrow. Actually, today, because tomorrow they belly up. Monday, you have to have another insurance.
Is that a
Didn't even tell anybody.
I had no idea.
I know. I mean, we didn't really know that one of her doctors called and told her that, I guess they had gotten a letter, but anyway, that she wouldn't have any more insurance except Medicare.
So for heaven's sakes, don't get sick until this gets straightened out.
Well, I've already we've already switched over because they finally put the letter out to Medicare, and we were able to go ahead and, get the same type of coverage that we had. But I know a lot of people don't know because we've never gotten a letter. Anyway, you guys have a good day.
Thanks you, Esquire.
So much,
Esquire. Nice to hear from you.
Let's see if we can get Greg in before the break. Thanks for waiting, Greg.
Good morning.
Thanks for calling KNON.
Yes, I don't think people see the charter school system for what it really is. For voluntarily walking back into separate but equal. In the charter school system, you have to apply. They have to accept you. Right now, if any kid lived within the confines of the Highland Park School District, they could not prevent him from going to that school by law. But if you have a charter system, they don't have to take you.
No, they don't.
That's right.
They don't have to take you. You are voluntarily bringing separate but equal right back to fruition.
That's right.
They could discriminate any way they want to.
They can discriminate any way that they want to.
And it's segregation at its worst. I mean, we're looking at the rich and the poor. That's it.
What it is, they're getting you to walk. It was forced upon you before. They get you to say this is what you want.
That's right.
And that's incorrect. You make them back. See, what the rich do, and this is how I explained it to my daughter. If you send your child to public school, you're actually paying twice. Because if you own property, you're paying property taxes which go into and fund the public school system. But if you're paying a private school tuition, that's paying twice.
That's right.
And
that's true.
What they want to do is level the playing field on their behalf.
Right.
They want everybody to pay twice. They don't want you to have the benefit of your tax dollars. They want everybody. If you want your child to be educated, they want you to have to come out of the pocket and do it yourself. And you're already coming out of the pocket in form of tax. But people need to wake up. This is nothing but separate but equal, wrapped in a different pack.
You're absolutely right, Greg. Governor Perry has something else that he wants to do with your tax money, which is turn around and give it away to the rich people.
To the rich people. Isn't that nice?
A nice big tax break for the corporations.
I didn't get a tax break. You
I'm not a corporation. Are you a corporation?
Right. Well, I don't know. I might be.
See it.
I mean, Citizens United says that corporations are people, so I guess I could be a corporation.
Well, maybe.
A documentary I suggest that people watch, and you'll really get the feel of how these folks feel, is The Men Who Built America.
Okay, go ahead. Where do you get that?
And you can get it. It's a movie. It's a documentary movie. It's about Vanderbilt. It's about J.P. Morgan. It's about Rockefeller. It tells you how these people think. It tells you that they're all about profit. They're about crushing any organization among the workers. They're about driving wages down. But the key teller is it has modern-day folks in it commenting. It has Mark Cuban in it. It has Donald Trump in it. It has Jack Welch in it, and people like this, and how they praise these people in their business tactics and how they really lauded these folks and said that's how you do business.
Yeah.
These are the mentalities of the folks that we deal with every day.
It's true.
That's true.
It tells you how they think. It tells you exactly what they feel and how they aren't interested in anything other than profit.
That's right.
They're willing to crush anybody that steps in their way.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
What can I say?
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks for those words of wisdom. We'll be right back.
Tell you all a story that's close to me. Worker who's leaning on a bended knee, soiled and tattered in search of relief, fighting for some unspoken belief.
Recycle Revolution is a local recycling collection service and community drop-off center. They collect and accept all traditional recyclables, including paper, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and glass, as well as materials like TVs, computers, lamps, light bulbs, batteries, ballast, and styrofoam. They offer collection services to apartments, condos, and businesses. They also offer a community drop-off located at 1703 Chestnut Street in Dallas. For more information, 214-566-3025 or recyclerevolutiondallas.com.
This is William, your videographer for the KNON talk shows. You can watch Workers Beat by going to KNON.org website. Click on schedules to the left side of your screen. Choose Workers Beat's page. Scroll to the bottom of the page, then choose your favorite show to watch or download. This show will be ready for viewing by lunchtime Tuesday. Have a great day.
I wake up in the morning at 4:45. The alarm clock is relentless, for goodness sakes alive.
Yeah, we're back on the Workers Beat, and the number here is 972-647-1893. We started off talking about the workers at Southwest Airlines and how they're getting cut. But just like, it seems like, Bonnie, you and I always go the same direction, and we start finding out about how generalized this business of cutting the workers is across the United States and across the world.
That's right.
So
that's right.
The shame of it is how they're attacking the children.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
The Texas legislature, since it's had its present composition, which is overwhelmingly Republican, they have shown their disdain for children in many, many ways. One was cutting children's insurance, which they did, I think, 3 sessions ago.
Chip.
Last session, they cut the schools. And, of course, they are whittling away at the schools in every possible way. And several callers have responded to that. And we've heard some real words of wisdom from out there.
Yeah.
I think people understand the crisis.
Then why aren't you showing up at stuff? You know?
I was working out my way.
Were you?
That,
okay,
I was going to put it
a little nicer? Nah.
Well, thank goodness we have you here to be the bad cop, and I'll try to be the good cop.
You know, I was mentioning I went to a meeting on Monday evening at my union hall, battlegroundtexas.com. Okay, Jeremy Byrd, he was President Obama's campaign director. A great, awesome guy. We had a meeting. There was over 200 people at the union hall, all colors, all age groups, all walks of life. I was thoroughly impressed and excited. These folks, us, not these folks, us. We need to work together to make Texas count in nationwide elections. Because right now we don't have a voice.
Yeah.
We have a majority Republican state, And we do not have a voice in national politics.
They keep saying that Texas is going to change.
It is.
And I think it's because poor people have so many babies.
Is that why?
Well, that's true.
It is
Rich people
true.
don't have very many babies.
No, they don't.
And poor people who don't have as much to do, they can't go to the opera.
Right.
So they stay home and have
make
sex.
babies.
and make more babies. But
and that's okay.
So they're saying that Texas demographic is going to change. And so they say that it's going to be possible that they're going to kind of reverse the whole trend. One thing they're going to have to do is redistrict, I'll tell you that, because the districting now is such that the people of Texas are not really getting their voice.
No, because it's been gerrymandered.
They fixed it so that the more racist elements of Texas would have a lot more say-so as to who gets in the legislature.
That's right.
And, of course, they've been doing this since before the Civil War.
Right.
But
Texas
it's been really blatant lately.
And Texas used to be a Democratic state.
Yes, it was, but it wasn't a really good.
It wasn't the
Democratic
real
state.
Democratic state. It's more
Back in the days of Governor Allen Shivers, when they called out the Rangers to make sure black children did not get to go to school in Mansfield, that was the kind of Democrats that they had back in those days, and most of those guys have become Republicans.
Of course they have.
Allen Shivers himself, when he was governor, he started Democrats for Eisenhower, which was the first turn. Eisenhower, of course, was a Republican president, and that was the first beginning of the turn away from the Democratic Party in Texas, and all the reactionaries began to go into the Republican Party, and now they have kind of figured out who they are and what they want, and
they want everything,
and how, to what extremes they're willing to go to get what they want.
Yeah.
So we have ended up in the terrible situation that we're in now. Now, we've been conducting a little poll, Job with Justice, Rosemarie Rieger and I and other people. We've been asking people exactly why it is that so few people turn out, especially to help each other. Now, I talked about the picket at 555 last Thursday, which was good. I had 75 or so people, and the one on Sunday, this past Sunday, was even better. They had well over 200 people at the post office with the letter carriers union.
That's awesome.
But they were nearly all letter carriers. They were nearly all from that particular union, National Association of Letter Carriers. Gwen York and Mark York from the Transport Workers Union were there, but they come to just about everything.
Yeah.
And we had 4 or 5 Job with Justice people, and 2 or 3 from the Texas Alliance for Retired Americans. And as far as I know, everybody else was there was from the letter carriers. In other words, we didn't get a lot of support from other people, from other organizations,
and I think
community organizations, church organizations, or anything.
Because they don't know about it.
To some extent, I think it's true that they don't know about it, but if they listen to KNON, they know about it.
They do, right?
You and I talked about it.
Exactly.
And,
folks, look at...
I myself sent out 7,000 emails on it, so I know there were quite a few people that did know about it. And so the question is, why is it that people are not turning up? And we're gathering some hard data on this.
That's
and
cool.
So far, it's looking, both the survey that Rosemarie has online and the survey that I've just been handing out on pieces of paper indicate that people don't believe it will make any difference. They don't see the point of going to meetings, signing petitions, making a phone call, voting, taking some form of action.
They don't think that it does any good?
Well, that seems to be the main answer that we're getting. Of course, it's just an opinionaire.
Right.
We're only asking for the opinions. We're asking the activists to give their opinions on why everybody else is not turning out. And so you can't say anything definitive about it. And, of course, we're gathering more data all the time. But it looks like it's going to turn out that people do not believe it will make any difference. So this points to an interesting idea about what people should be doing about it, what we should be doing about it. And it has to do with people finding out how they got all this stuff anyway. How did you get the things that you are now losing? How did you get the wages that you now have
and the benefits
that you are now losing? How did you get health care that you are now losing? How did you get pensions that you are now losing? How did you get women's rights? How did you get civil rights?
Right.
And a lot of people alive today know very well how they got civil rights.
Yep.
Because they got it by suffering and by marching, by picketing, by sitting in, and above all by voting.
That's right.
But by taking political action and standing up and doing something.
Yes.
But the thing is, apparently people are not keeping that in their consciousness. And maybe this is because of younger people, that everything has been done on the internet or something, so that they really don't have an idea what other people went through. But what it points to is the idea that we need to learn a little bit about our own history.
Yeah.
Now you can study history all day long and not learn anything, because the history that you get in school and the history you get in nearly all books.
Doesn't talk about labor.
That's the boss's history.
That's right.
It says Andrew Carnegie was a great man, and he created U.S. Steel.
Yeah, wasn't he a carpetbagger?
Made all this steel and stuff like that. Well, he killed all kinds of people at Homestead. There was a Homestead strike,
and all those
workers were just shot down.
All the guys they
sent an army in they hired an army to go in and shoot the strikers in Homestead.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we learned a little bit about our own history and the struggles that people went through, maybe people would see how to hang on to their benefits today if they realized how they won them to begin with.
And I guess we just have to keep putting it out there and keep talking about it and explaining and trying to teach the younger generation and help them to understand the company didn't give you this.
That's right.
The company didn't give you anything. We have fought and bargained and negotiated for everything we have.
Walter Reuther used to say that you could take everything that the bosses ever gave us from their own free will, and you could wad it up and put it in your eye, and you wouldn't even blink, because they never gave us nothing of their own free will.
That's right.
We had to win everything that we want, and we did it a little bit at a time.
That's right.
You know, Peter Johnson just walked by.
He did?
Yeah, I don't know if he's coming in the station or if he's just having a meeting here at KNON. But if you talk to Peter Johnson about the days in the civil rights movement in Dallas in the 60s, he'll tell you that they had meetings of 3 or 4 people.
Yep.
In the basement of the Lutheran Church, right over there on what's now called Martin Luther King Street,
right,
which was Forest Avenue back then.
Right.
At the Lutheran Church in the basement, he'd say, well, people remember the civil rights movement. They think of thousands of people marching, but believe me, he'll tell you that sometimes there was only 2 or 3 of us, and sometimes the mimeograph machine didn't work. So there was a lot of work went into winning what we won, and we had wonderful successes, brilliant successes.
And you talk about little baby steps, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get it a little bit at a time. I have a perfect example. My husband and I have lived in Pleasant Grove for 25 years, same house. And the neighborhood is built up around us. It all started back in '86, and now it's gotten bigger. Well, we needed a 4-way stop on the thoroughfare. It took us 2 years to get that stop sign.
So what kind of things did you do to get the stop sign?
Well, you have to get a petition signed by all the neighbors. 69% of the neighbors in a certain area has to sign the petition saying yes, they want it. Yes, and
you might have mailed some of them.
No, I can actually say we walked around Dallas Police Department. I had 2 officers from Southeast Division that took up this cause. They walked the neighborhood in uniform and out of uniform because a lot of the neighbors are Latino, don't speak a lot of English. They worked on this for me tirelessly for like 4 months. And then we started asking, where's our stop sign? What's our, I send all the paperwork in. You shouldn't have to pull strings. I mean, I had to call or email the assistant Dallas city manager and ask for help.
You did calls, you did emails.
Yeah, everything.
You did petitions.
2 years.
Knocking on doors. So that's how we make progress.
That's it.
That's how we
bit every
won the things that we won.
The civil rights
And if
movement.
we expect to hold on to them, we expect that we're going to have to do the same thing.
That's
Because the
right.
bosses haven't changed.
No.
They'll move back a little bit. They'll say, okay, well, you guys are on strike. We're going to give you a nickel more, so you get this nickel. And then the next year they say, well, we'll take that nickel back and another nickel. And so you have to do it all over again.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like that as long as we're living under the bosses.
That's right.
We will always have to fight.
We're going to give you 50 cents more an hour, but we're going to charge you 60 cents more an hour for your
on
benefits.
Your health care, yeah. So the bosses have not changed. The bosses are just like they were when Andrew Carnegie ordered his army out to shoot the strikers down at Homestead. The bosses have not changed one little bit. And the only way for us to continue winning or to hang on to what we already won is to keep on fighting.
Yes.
So fighting, of course, doesn't mean this, loading a shotgun
No,
and
God, no.
breaking the law or something like that.
Civil-
It means using what you have.
Civil disobedience.
Yeah, well, that's one of the
I
tactics.
love civil disobedience.
Well, it's one of the tactics.
It is.
It's not one to get hung up on. We don't get hung up on anything.
No.
But just signing a simple petition makes a lot of difference. Even
That's
an
right.
online petition. Just
Yes.
click here,
And there's thousands of them
write
out
a letter.
there. Write a letter.
Write a letter. Make a phone call.
Call your congressman.
Call a vote. Attend something. Now, Bonnie and I do pretty much everything that happens. But
We try to.
But you can do a little bit.
Yes.
We do maybe a little bit more than some people. Malcolm X used to say, "I'm just like you." He said, "I might do a little bit more than you do, but I'm just like you."
That's right. That's
And
right.
so he would say, "I'm not Superman or anything." There's nothing special about people like Bonnie and I who work on these issues. It's just work. That is the very best advice that I ever got. One of my first assignments in politics was to call people and ask them for money. And I thought, oh, my God, I hate doing this. This is the worst thing I ever tried to do. So I called this old professor, and I think he was a Maoist. I think he had been a Maoist back in the 60s, And anyway, he had been politically active. And I said, this is just not my thing. I'm a writer, and I don't really want to call people that I don't know and stuff like. He said, "Son, it's just work. It's all just work. So knocking on doors, it's just work. Calling people, it's just work. Signing petitions, it's just work. Volunteering, it's just work. Voting, it's just work. Anybody can do it.
That's right.
It is just work."
And if you can't get out and go march or something, ask for a list to call. You can sit and call folks. You don't have to ask for money.
Yeah.
Maybe you're just doing turnout for an event.
Sure.
You may not be able to get out, but we need your help to help us get folks out.
It's like coming on the radio. People say, "Oh, you must be some kind of special person to get up and talk on the radio." How much training did you have, Bonnie, to do this?
They threw me in here and said sink or swim.
Here's the microphone.
That's right.
It's over there.
And of course now here's the microphone and look at the camera. I don't know.
It does get easier if you do it longer.
Yes, it
it's
does.
true.
Yes, it
but
does.
But it is just work, brothers and sisters.
I
That's
like that.
all it is. And work, 80% of all the work you ever did was just showing up.
That's it.
So just show up, and you'll be amazed
On time.
how much you can do. Well, it's good to be on time, but show up anyway.
That's what I try to tell these younger folks, when we give them the orientation into the union and when they join the company, 75% of this job is showing up on time every day.
Yeah, well, showing up at all.
Just showing up. Because it is amazing to me, the number one reason people are terminated is attendance.
Speaking of showing up, Ed Schutz just showed up.
He did?
And it's time for us
And
to
it's
start
time for us
talking
to
about
go.
winding this thing up, because we got to get out of the way. Some real intelligent people are going to take over the microphones at KNON.
I won't be here next week. I'll be in Houston at the APRI, A. Philip Randolph Institute State Convention.
And what is that?
That is, A. Philip Randolph was a porter on the train, and he helped organize the porters.
Well, yeah, but his institute is a civil rights
It's a civil rights institute.
Yeah,
yes.
it's one sponsored by unions, and
Yes.
I'm just delighted to hear that you're going to their convention.
I'm very excited.
So we have to get out of the way, and Ed is on his way in here now to spread wisdom.
That's right.
And perhaps he'll be a little more upbeat than we were. I'm afraid
know, we were
we
kind of
mostly
gloom
talked
and
about
doom.
the dark side.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
KNON 89.3 FM in Dallas and Fort Worth, the voice of the people.
Business owners, tell KNON's listeners about your business. You can put your business or event on KNON. KNON currently has space available to run announcements for you. Tell KNON's listeners about your goods, services, nightclub, concert, or event. Help keep the voice of the people on the air while putting your information on the air. KNON's been named the #1 radio station in Dallas by both the Dallas Observer and D Magazine. Put your business with Dallas's #1 station. Call now for more information at 214-828-9500, extension 227, or extension 233. For more information, go to KNON.org and click on the Run Spots on KNON page. It's a great way for your business to support community radio while letting more people know about you.